let's go ahead and get into the first video so we can see what's happening, not just here in America, but on a world stage, because it's global. It's global.
Crowds celebrate in Tehran, gathering at the city's Palestine Square to show support for Hamas's attack on Israel this Saturday. Iran provides political, financial and military backing for Hamas. A top Iranian official expressed support for the operation.
We support the Al-Aqsa flood operation and we will stand by the Palestinian fighters.
In Palestinian camps in Lebanon and in Beirut's southern suburbs, there were further triumphant scenes among Hezbollah supporters.
Israel claims to have an invincible army. The myth of Israeli intelligence has been shattered once again, and we're facing imminent victory.
In a statement, Hezbollah congratulated the Palestinian people and Hamas, describing a, quote, heroic and victorious operation. Meanwhile, in Turkey, thousands marched in Istanbul in support of the Palestinians. Many were students or community workers.
When we heard that the Hamas attacked Israel, we wanted to support them. We are university students. We can't do anything except pray. We wanted to do our best to stand with them.
These expressions of support for Palestine carry particular significance in the region at a time when Saudi Arabia is normalizing its relations with Israel while stressing the importance of the Palestinian question.
Stop it right there. So this girl here, look at the headband that she's wearing. That's not a Palestinian headband.
What is it?
It's a Hamas headband.
Wow.
So out of that, I got what I got out of it. They used the words of heroic.
I was going to point that out, and victorious.
And victorious to describe the massacre that took place. These people are cowards. And why do I say that? Because they didn't choose to attack a military opposition. They didn't choose to attack a military compound. They didn't choose to attack their actual military enemy. No, they chose to attack the weakest, the vulnerable. They chose to attack civilians, people that cannot fight back, people that they knew were unarmed, children who cannot defend themselves, women who are obviously, they're lesser in strength than men. They chose to pick the weakest people to attack. That's cowardly. There's nothing victorious. There's nothing heroic about it. It was a terroristic attack. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I always find it funny when not funny. I always find same reaction here when I see someone who hunted an animal, right? And then they take a picture, the trophy picture, where it's they have their rifle and then there's the dead deer or the dead whatever animal. And it's you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You had a weapon of war. You killed an animal that, number one, wasn't attacking you. Number two, wasn't prepared for you. Number three, even if it was, had no way to defeat you against a gun.
Right.
So it's you didn't do anything heroic. There's nothing victorious about what you did.
Correct.
You're not a winner. And it's the same thing here. It's you killed basically sleeping babies in a nursery. It's how, okay, you killed babies in what did you prove?
Right.
You proved nothing. If you want to actually be heroic, you would go into the jungle, find a bear, and you'd fight the bear hand-to-hand combat. And if you win, that's heroic. That's victorious. And just like you said, if you went in with a military operation against military and you won, that's, I would say, heroic. That's victorious. But you can't celebrate killing children, babies, women. There's nothing to celebrate.
It's absolutely disgusting. As a matter of fact, yesterday was December 7th, and it was the remembrance of Pearl Harbor, right? Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. That's a military to military attack. They caught us completely by surprise. What these people did to Israel, on October 7th, and what happened with us on 9/11, those are cowardly acts by a bunch of cowards.
Right. It's the same thing when you have these mass shooters in the U.S. They target people that are just going about their day, right?
Correct.
They look for gun-free zones to make their attack because they're cowards. They want no resistance. For example, Audrey Hale, the transgender shooter, she specifically chose her location because the other place she looked at had armed security. So she said, better not go there. Better go to the place where there's no armed security because it's cowardly. Same thing here.
Correct. Now, what's interesting here is that, like I said, this is something that we've been seeing throughout the past, 2 or 3 months now on college campuses, or 2 months on college campuses. And there's been almost, like an acceptance from the administration, from the people in charge at these colleges. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to shut down these protests. Protest is one thing, but when you're actively chanting for the death of a group of people, that's not a protest. You're chanting for genocide, right? That's completely different. But so we have a lot of these deans that are just not calling this stuff out, and they're not taking action. They're allowing these, again, protests to take place, and what's happening is causing actual Jewish students to be fearful because we've seen a lot of them get attacked.
Yep. Are you going to play this video?
Yeah. I got the next video lined up, and it's basically, so this is from Australia.
In other news, today, Jewish schools have made headlines offering safe haven to Jewish students in public schools who are feeling unsafe due to the unprecedented rise of anti-Semitism within those schools. One might say almost fully to blame for that is the Teachers Union in Victoria, as well as the New South Wales Teachers Federation. We've seen those movements rising up, and kids are monkey see, monkey do. Leonard Hayne, Executive Director of the Australian Council of Jewish Schools, was in the Oz today. He said, in light of the attitude of the Public Teachers Union, we can expect the level of anti-Semitic bullying in public schools to increase further, and consequently an increase in the feeling of insecurity among Jewish students in public schools. We are informing our community that if the student at a government or independent school at the moment is feeling uncomfortable with the circumstances, Jewish schools will do whatever they can in order to accommodate them and to ensure the fee is affordable. Strength to your arm, Leonard. Good on them. Look after yourselves, because God knows this government is not going to. They did.
So what are your thoughts there? Australia is witnessing similar things, and I imagine other countries as well.
Well, the problem is, I believe Australia has mostly been de-armed. So, it's much harder to defend yourself there in Australia than it is here in the U.S. So that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, this is sad that people have to segregate themselves based on their religion. We're supposed to be, at least the U.S. is, we're supposed to be a melting pot where, you build tolerance through exposure to people that have different beliefs, different skin color, all that stuff. And it just seems here that a lot of Jewish people feel like they have to take themselves out of those situations, and they can only feel safe with other, Jews. And that's not the way it's supposed to be here in the U.S.
No, but we experienced that during the Trump administration again, where you if you were a conservative on a college campus, most of them are leftist, especially the big ones. You didn't have ease. You didn't have any peace. You couldn't express yourself. You couldn't do things. People could wear an Obama shirt left and right, no problem. You wear a Trump shirt, you're a target.
Yeah.
So we've experienced that as well down here. And it's just really sad that this is the reflection that's going on, not just here, Australia, but it's all over the world. I've seen videos from the UK. I've seen videos from Sweden. I've seen videos from France. It's just absolutely horrible what we've been taught over the last, since I was a kid. I was born in the late 70s, grew up in the 80s and 90s. Everything that I was taught in our society, in our melting pot of a society, is just out the window by the left. And it's interesting because the left is constantly calling out racism when they're the promoters of it at this juncture.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I noticed today was at this event in St. Petersburg, you know, it attracted such a weird crowd today. I still can't get over it. But I had my big Trump flag today. It said "Build the Wall," Trump 2024. I had the "Build the Wall" flag, and I just noticed that all the people that gave me thumbs up and supported my message, they were all dressed normally, like me and you, right? Like a t-shirt, a polo shirt, a collared shirt, some khaki shorts, sneakers, like normal hair color, you know. But then all the people that cursed me out or gave me dirty looks, it was like people that looked like they haven't showered for 2 weeks, like just unkept outfits, like the weird hipster look. Like you could just tell based on one look normal, one look adjusted to society. The women look like women, the men look like men. And the other was just like these very sloppy looking, out of shape, a lot of them morbidly obese, weird fashion. I was just like, it was just weird to me. That's all. Just a weird observation.
I've observed the same thing. Now, the next section I want to talk about is the boldness of being openly anti-Semitic, right? So open Semitism, is popping up. People aren't hiding it. You know, there's some that are still hiding it, but there's some that aren't. And this guy made a video, so let's check out this guy's video.
This is a truly shocking story. Another example of anti-Semitism bubbling to the surface from the Israel-Hamas war. Citibank employee and glamorous baker Nazima Husseinova. She posted a vile anti-Semitic post about Jewish people following the Hamas terror attacks. And this goes to show you that a lot of people, and I'm going to guess she's a lefty, that's my guess here, but a lot of these people, they're not just saying like, I stand with innocent Palestinian people. They're literally standing with Hamas, which is very different. And basically, she's reacting to the fake story, the fake news story, that Israel apparently bombed the hospital in Gaza. Apparently that wasn't true. And if you look at the bottom of her story, she writes, "No wonder why H wanted to get rid of all of them." That's crazy. That's crazy. So anyway, I'm creating this video because I think we should flood the airwaves with the story so that her name gets out there. So that way, you know, people know where she stands. She stands with H. And that's very scary. That's very scary.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the second video of this open Semitism or anti-Semitism. What's going on here?
You're Palestinian.
Yes.
What brings you out here today?
Well, we have to celebrate Palestine forever.
Did you live in the area before?
I was born there.
And when did you come to the U.S.?
1967, before the war.
Been here a long time. What would you say to Hamas right now?
Keep it going. Put those fucking Palestinians in the ocean.
But
throw them away.
You said to Hamas, you want Hamas to put the Palestinians in the ocean?
The Jews.
Oh, you want Hamas to put the Jews in the ocean?
So we are the Arabs of Palestine, and we deserve our land.
So what do you think should happen to all the Jewish people that live in Israel?
Let them go back to their own home countries.
And where would that be?
Poland, Russia, Germany, throughout Europe, you name it.
So would you like to see Palestine be all of Israel? The whole country?
There is no such thing as Israel. Palestine is all of Palestine.
Got it. So take Israel off the map and replace it with Palestine.
Pretty good. Where are you from?
I was born in Mexico.
Oh.
I'll just stop it right there because you know the rest. We'll do one more and then I'll get your reaction.
Yep.
I support Hamas.
History is made that day. Very proud of my people. Very, very proud. Would love it if they would do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again.
So she's proud of mass rape, torture, slaughter, babies being beheaded, families burnt alive, women being gang raped, and brutally killed. What is she doing
so
in the
feminist
West?
at a university?
What is she doing in the West?
Durham University, student there at Durham University, and before that we had a character at Dublin University at a debate who started ranting Allahu Akbar and all the rest of it.
All right, stop it right there. Let's get your reaction on the first video of the girl who was standing with Hitler, apparently.
Yeah, this is so that girl's name was Nozima Husseinova. Her cousin actually reached out to me requesting me to delete the video. And I told him no. I said, anybody who stands with Hitler, they need to be called out. And I'm not taking the video down. And I didn't take it down. And they never bothered me again. She's got into hiding, apparently. That girl deleted her Instagram, her LinkedIn, her Facebook. She's nowhere to be found. And so these people, they'll say things like that, and they won't stick around for the backlash, which to me is crazy. Like, if you're going to say something, own it. Own it and stand behind your beliefs, as messed up as they are. But these people, they scurry like little, like cave dwellers.
Right.
So, yeah, she's a trash person. And I made sure that when I put the video on YouTube and TikTok, that I put her name in the video so that anytime an employer searches her name, that video will show up. And on TikTok, I believe my video is the first result of her name. So mission accomplished there. And as far as the other girl that said that Hamas should do it over and over again, she's a sick bitch. And if she's in America, she should be deported.
She's in Canada.
Well, she should not be allowed in the U.S. because this, to me, is a potential terrorist.
Absolutely.
Who is openly stating terroristic claims and statements.
So here's...
Which is sad, because she's actually somewhat attractive. So it's really sad.
Yeah, both girls were attractive. The problem is the ideology with all three of them, right? They're ignorant, they're misinformed, and they're full of hate. That's the bottom line, because history is history. Right? If we're going by historical accounts, and we're going to use historical accounts to justify current day hatred, everybody would hate each other. Because at one given point, everybody was against everybody at some point in time, right?
Yep.
Human history spans thousands of years, and within those thousands of years, there have been every single type of war within tribes, within kingdoms, within races, outside of it, right? Externally, etc. And so, like I said, it like you pointed out at the beginning of this video, was that all these people, they tend to pick a specific point in time, which is 1949, move forward to justify their position. And their position isn't, it's no longer like, hey, I want a two-state solution. It's we want to get rid of the Jews.
Correct.
Right? And so, and it's not like, hey, let's find another land for them. No, it's like, get out, or we'll kill you by any means necessary, which what we saw on that protest before, right?
Yeah, it's exactly it.
So it's really interesting. Now, I mentioned a two-state solution because there's a lot of people that have been talking about a two-state solution, and it's been ongoing for a while, right? Obama pitched it. I'm sure Bill Clinton pitched it. I'm sure, maybe George Bush Jr. pitched it, whatever the case may be. The Young Turks recently, he pitched it. Ben Shapiro touched on it, and he said he would be open to a two-state solution. But let's be real. A two-state solution has been done before. And was there peace then? Clearly not, because here we are.
Right.
So a two-state solution isn't going to work. And we have video proof. I played this in one of my previous videos, but I want to replay it because I think it's poignant.
إسرائيل دولة لا مقام لها على أرضنا. إحنا الدولة لابد أن نزيلها لأنه بالفعل هي تعتبر كارثة أمنية وعسكرية وسياسية للأمة العربية والإسلامية، يجب أن تنتهي. لذلك إحنا لا نخجل من نقول ذلك بكل قوة، إنه إسرائيل لازم نأدبها، وحنأدبها مرة ثانية وثالثة، ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الأقصى أول مرة، لا حتكون ثانية وثالثة ورابعة، لأنه إحنا لدينا إصرار ولدينا قرار ولدينا إمكانيات أن نقاتل وأن نحارب. لكن كما قلت لك بدنا ندفع ثمن. نعم إحنا مستعدين. معلش بدي أقول لك بشكل واضح، إحنا اسمنا شعب الشهداء وبنفخر أن نقدم شهداء. إحنا لا نريد أن نمس لا بالمدنيين ولا أن نلحق الأذى بهم، لكن أوقات لأنه في تعقيدات في الميدان صارت في منطقة موجودة، وكان هناك في احتفال وكان في سكان منطقة واسعة ليست سهلة على امتداد تقريبا 40 كيلومتر. يجب أن ننتهي.
أن ينتهي وين؟
بس
بقطاع غزة؟
ينتهي إلى، لا بتكلم عنه كل الأراضي الفلسطينية.
كل الأراضي الفلسطينية، يعني زوال إسرائيل؟
طبعا. وجود إسرائيل غير منطقي. وجود إسرائيل هو اللي بخلق كل هذه الآلام والعذابات والدموع والدماء. هي إسرائيل مش إحنا ضحية الاحتلال، نقطة وآخر السطر. لذلك ما حدا يلومنا، إحنا شو اللي بنعمله في 7 أكتوبر، في 10 أكتوبر، في مليون أكتوبر. إحنا اللي بنعمله مبرر. It is justified، مبررة.
So I want to talk about how this guy, first of all, he's lying because he talked about how they didn't want to do any civilians any harm. There's been more than enough proof shown by the IDF to show that they had maps, they targeted schools. I mean, if you didn't want to harm civilians, why would you behead children? Why would you rape the women? Like, let's just say you cross the border and you just mistakenly come across civilians. Okay, I could understand maybe you taking them captive, but you don't massacre them like we've seen. I mean, we don't even, I know you have mentioned how there's propaganda on both sides, but we saw the video from the victims live that Hamas was opening fire at this concert event that they were at. So if his statement was really true, none of that would happen, but obviously it did, and obviously this guy is bold-faced lying to everyone.
Yeah, they knew exactly what they were doing, 100%. I mean, this was all part of the plan. They wanted to make a statement loud and clear. And they did it on October 7th. And you hear right here that their mission wasn't accomplished.
Right. Because he goes, the existence of Israel is illogical. And the existence of Israel is what causes all that pain, blood, and tears, making themselves the victim. Then he talked about how he wants to get rid of all of them. Right? Everything we do is justified.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
So, and this is an actual spokesman for Hamas. He's been on several interviews. I've seen him on several ones. I saw him on one where the reporter actually pushed back and it's like, why are you doing this? Why, I understand that you have a fight, maybe with Israel, but why did you do this to innocent civilians and so on and so forth? And then what he did was redirect to the Palestinian civilians, which is the common tactic. When you bring out the terroristic acts that these people do, they want to redirect the conversation to say, oh, well, what about the Palestinian victims and so on and so forth? Well, if we follow logical order, if you hadn't attacked on October 7th, correct, victims on both sides of the spectrum would still be alive. So,
correct. I mean, that's the thing. You got to look at who started all this. Did you expect Israel to just go, sorry, guys, like, we understand you're upset with us. You killed 1,600 of us. All right, we get it. No, you knew they were going to respond, and you knew they were going to respond with force.
Correct.
So it's almost like if I go up to a bully who's like 6'5", and I try to say, you've been bullying me, which is wrong. Let's just say in this example, and I go to punch him. Well, nothing. So what do you got here? The claim that Israel is occupying Arab land.
So going back to this two-state solution, this is the Muslim. This is all of the Muslim countries, and then that one spot where you see the circle or the square, the highlight square, is the only Jewish country in the entire world.
Now, I do want to say though, I hope this doesn't come off wrong. I want to say this. First of all, I understand the importance of Israel to the Jewish people from a biblical, historical standpoint, right? I get that. But if we could ignore that for a moment and just say, let's ignore history.
Okay.
It doesn't make much sense to put a Jewish state in the middle of all these other states that don't like them.
I know, but
I understand they did it because of Israel and Jerusalem and all the Holy Lands. I get that. I understand why they did it. But if we could have redone the situation over, maybe if we gave like Israel, Australia, New Zealand.
Hey man, that's where they originated from, and that's where they.
I get it, but do you see my point though? It's like
no, I hear. Yeah,
I see both sides. I see both sides: the biblical, the Holy Land, the connection, the Israelites. I get it. I
hear it.
But in terms of modern day safety, we had a chance to reset and say, we're going to give you a Jewish country, a Jewish land, a Jewish state, why not somewhere where they're not surrounded by people that want them dead?
No. But you know what's interesting? Do you know what's really interesting? And I have to bring in the Bible because it's what the Bible says. The Bible says that that's going to happen. The Bible said that they would be surrounded by their enemies. But, so it's a prophetic and telling message that we can't deny it. You know, it's sad. And until in a Christian perspective, until Christ comes back, that's unfortunately the situation, the ongoing situation. Because look, like you said at the beginning, this, you know, the counter attack from Israel is causing pain, and it's breeding more hatred, more hostility.
That's what's going to do long term. You know, what's going to happen is in what's 2023, in 2043, when this generation of youths are all, you know, men, they're going to get ready for another attack. And in 2040, we're going to deal with this again.
Correct. And then the other part that you did mention, and I've mentioned it as well, what's Israel to do? Because they can't just sit there and get attacked and be like, all right, well, we're not going to attack back because we're afraid that it's going to cause more hostility towards us. People are going to hate Israel anymore. We didn't take that position in 9/11. We didn't take that position with Pearl Harbor. We didn't take that position. I wouldn't take that position right now if somebody did harm to me or my family. I'm going to retaliate.
Well, that's because people are very self-centered. Like, the attack was on us, America, right? But now, because the attack is somewhere else, people get to virtue signal and grandstand.
Correct.
That, you know, you shouldn't have a genocide or blah, blah, blah. It's like, yo, go back to 9/11. Were you telling people, like, come on, we're genociding ISIS? Like, come on. You know, no. You were like, we must get rid of them so that this never happens again.
But it's not even that, because 9/11 is technically not really comparable, because we did go after a terrorist group that was not disguising itself as a government. But we can't be all self-righteous. What did we do during World War II? Did we not drop 2 bombs on Japan and wiped out everybody in those 2 areas?
Yeah, that's crazy that we did that. That's one of the craziest things that we did. Like, I mean, look, I get it. Like, I understand, like, their logic was to end the war now, we have to do this dramatic escalation. But when you look back, that's crazy that we pretty much wiped out 2 cities off the face of the goddamn map.
And yet they've rebuilt quicker than any democratic city.
I'll tell you about it. Have you been to Japan?
I have not. It's on my bucket list.
It's one of the greatest countries on this planet.
Amen to that. I agree.
People always ask me, what are my favorite countries in the world to visit? My top 4 are Thailand, Vietnam, Mexico, Japan. Those 4 so far. I'd like to get down to South America, obviously, because I think that I'm going to fall in love with a lot of those countries, probably Colombia, probably Peru. But from what I've been, those 4 really stand out to me as a great way of living, especially Japan.
Yeah, especially Japan is on the top of my list. If I had to move anywhere,
clean, safe, pride, patriotic.
Yep. If I had to move anywhere, it would be to Japan. Honestly. Yep, I agree with you.
Well, you know how I feel, man. As soon as I get my transplant, I'm out. I'm leaving the country. I'm going abroad.
That means we can't hang out no more.
Hey, you're gonna have to travel. You and the wife are gonna have to pack the bag, come out to Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
You know?
So going back, this map is very telling. You know, I personally don't agree with a 2-state solution. Why? Because the Arab nation already has more than enough. How much more are we going to take from the Jewish people? Right? How much more?
Why don't these countries take in the Palestinians?
Well, I raised that same question in my last video that I touched. They don't want them. The Jordanian king, prince, president, prime minister, I don't know what it is. His wife is Palestinian, and he won't take them in.
That's crazy.
That's exactly. But here's the interesting part. Going back to my opening statement, was this unique divide within the leftist party. It's I like I said, I cannot imagine 9/11 happening and then seeing people putting up, you know, Afghanistani flags, support for Afghanistan, which is where Al Qaeda was hiding out. Al Qaeda. Yeah, go ahead.
They wouldn't do that. They'd be ostracized as a society. 99% of Americans would have been like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
You know, and you have a whole Democratic Party, especially the young liberals, that are all supporting each other when it comes to this. They actually think they're in the right.
Correct.
That's the scariest part.
Correct.
So scary.
Correct. So it I mean, I can't imagine what Jewish people are feeling, but I think Mayim Bialik, if I'm pronouncing her name right, she's the girl from Blossom and Big Bang Theory. She took to video. I don't normally like highlighting celebrities because to me they're not on our level, right? They're elitist above. However, though, what she expressed, her feelings of, I guess, betrayal, it's very emotional. I'd like to play that and then get your thoughts.
Hey everybody, this is not scripted, which I feel like if I start writing what I'm feeling, I may never stop. So I decided to talk a little bit about what some people may not understand about what your Jewish friends are experiencing. So imagine if there was a massacre of an ethnic group or a religious group, the equivalent of 50,000 Americans. And imagine if what happened after that was that all over the world, there were marches of tens of thousands of people calling for further massacre of those people. I can't imagine it. It's unimaginable. And that's what it feels like right now as a Jewish person. That no matter your politics, no matter what you understand or don't understand about politics, no matter if you know the history of the establishment of the State of Israel, no matter if you know the history of the Jewish experience for thousands of years, including the history before Islam, there has not been an experience in my lifetime that has prepared me for this. I've heard from many people my whole life that anti-Semitism is growing, that the Holocaust, while we say we will never forget, many have forgotten. And the swiftness with which the global population has seized upon the massacre of Jewish civilians living inside of a border, the swiftness with which the world has stepped up to redefine terrorism, to redefine statehood, to redefine the right of a people to exist. Nothing has prepared me or any of us for this.
I'm going to stop it right there because that's pretty much what I wanted to get out of her. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, she's 100% right. You know, it's a little weird for me though, personally, because for the past 4 years, I've been anti-establishment. I think, you know, you too. I was anti-COVID vaccine. I was anti-BLM riots, which I think a lot of commentators people were. But I'm usually going against the mainstream narrative, right? So it's very strange for me to hear a Hollywood celebrity, and I'm just like, I agree with her 100%. You know, it's very strange when I'm seeing all this pro-Israel within my network, because let's be honest, most older Democrats, most Republicans are pro-Israel. That's just the reality. So when I put up a pro-Israel post, I know that I'm not going to really trigger mainstream society, right? Because mainstream society supports Israel. So it is weird for me to be on the side of the mainstream. But in this case, I fully am. And I do agree with everything that she just said. People are marching in support of the death of innocent people. Take out Judaism, take out Israelis. That's what they're supporting. The killing of innocent people. Just point blank. And anybody in the world who considers themselves to be innocent, I think I'm innocent. I think you're innocent. Getting killed while dancing at a rave or a party. I mean, that can happen to anybody, right? And why would you march for that? Like when the Las Vegas shooter, whatever, there might have been multiple that day, but when the Las Vegas shooter killed 60 people that day, right? Can you imagine if there were like marches around the world in support of him?
Yeah.
And it's like, we need more of that, 50 more every day. It's like, are you sick? Are you sick? Like, innocent people just get killed. So I agree with everything she said. I actually have respect for her more than I did before. I didn't really know much about her, but I have respect for her.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously she's a leftist, but I think reality hit her, and I hope she reassesses her political stance, because the left has been exposed, or at least this pocket. Maybe she'll do that. Maybe she'll justify and be like, well, it's just this pocket, right? But that pocket is within your base, right? And it's a large pocket. Now, here's what I'd like to finish off with, Adam, is you mentioned that I was up in Israel, and I was there, like I said, end of May, beginning of June. If this attack happens 5 months earlier, I'm either three things are going to happen, or maybe four. Either A, I get stuck in Jerusalem, depending on where I'm at, because we spent the most part in Jerusalem. So I'm stuck there. I can't leave, right? Because flights were canceled. B, I could have been kidnapped because we were in Palestinian-controlled areas like Jericho, Canaan, and Bethlehem. Or C, we would have died. Or D, nothing. We would have come home eventually at some point, right? Those are the four options. But three of those are not good, right? If, let's say, I get kidnapped, or I die, and I was obviously with my wife, her best friend, who's like her sister, and my brother-in-law, I would want us avenged, to be honest with you. You know? And so, and I was just there as a tourist, right? I'm just there spending my money, helping out the locals, whatever I can, and minding my business. I don't have anything to do with that. But you saw how many Americans got caught up in that.
A lot of tourists got caught up in that. A lot of tourists, too.
Correct. And that's my point, because there's also a divide within the right that I've mentioned before. And that divide is like, we don't want to get caught up in more foreign wars, right? Which I am for as well. But we have that religious connection. But even if you don't have that religious connection, we did have Americans captured. And so that brings us in the game.
That's why it's like when I see people saying, oh, the right doesn't want to fund Ukraine, but they want to fund Israel, the hypocrites. And I'm like, well, not really, because we actually lost Americans directly in October 7th, which makes it a little different than the Ukraine.
Correct.
You know? Because the whole argument from the left is that by funding the war in Ukraine, we're protecting democracy, right? That's their whole argument. But Ukraine really isn't behaving democratically at all. They've called off elections. They're considered one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And similar to the Democrats, for example, here in Florida, I don't know if you heard about that, but there was supposed to be some kind of Democratic primary where all the Democratic challengers can, pitch to the American people why they're the best. And the Florida Republican Party, the Florida Democratic Party, basically was very shady. And they're not letting other voices besides Joe Biden's be heard, which is very anti-democratic.
Right.
We have, within the Democratic Party, we have Marianne Williamson, who's running. We had RFK. We have Dean Phillips. I think that if the Democrats really cared about democracy, they would want their constituents to hear from these people. But they're not doing that. They were just all in behind Biden, who's going to lose the 2024 election.
They don't care about democracy. They showed that in 2020, in my opinion. But Adam, listen, I want to thank you for taking the time coming on and talking about this. Like I said, you're connected to this directly because of your the way that you were brought up, and so I just wanted to get your firsthand expression or feelings about everything that's going on, right? So I want to thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it, and I want to apologize for the technical glitches, but you'll edit those out, so they'll never be seen. All right, guys, you can find me everywhere out of Francisco on all the platforms. Thanks, Carlos. God bless you. And God bless Trump.
Amen. God bless you, brother.